Yes, this is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerized. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
On the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Tuesday. You know, for some reason, I thought, I seriously felt like it's Wednesday. It's one of these days where I'm just completely out of it. So we're going to see how well this show goes. But don't worry, we do have important things to talk about. Obviously, there's more violence possible that could happen. I'm going to break that down. In fact, we just actually had the FBI and the DOJ come out and talk about this. And so I actually want to work that in. We have Suzanne Collins. Suzanne Collins, you all know who she is. She's like the supposed moderate Republican. I'm going to show you, once again, another example of why that is wrong, that is complete and utter bullshit. Then we're going to talk about, of course, how another way that Republicans endangered Democrats during the Capitol riots. And then it looks like Donald Trump's businesses are not going to do so well. That's a fun story. So we'll save the best for last. As always, as what we always do here. Nazi Trump. I did not see that coming. No, I'm kidding. 100%. Okay, so anybody know where I can cancel the free trial for 2021? Yes, I have found the first 7 days to be very bad. I would like to. I would like to cancel my subscription. Good times. Good times. But okay. Anyway, I've been thinking it's Wednesday all morning. Yes. Also, Orange is sus. Vote him out. Love it. At some point, I'm going to be doing Among Us with the Serfs. So everybody on Twitch or on the YouTubes, go check out Lance of the Serfs. I usually try to rate him on Twitch. Even though he's much bigger than I am on Twitch. But he's also on YouTube at the Surf Times. So check out his videos. He's a great streamer and a very nice individual. I will be, at some point, hopefully, doing the Lefty Among Us. Thank you for reminding me. Theo Samalin. So on Twitch. Hey, I have a great Twitch community that's starting to blow up. Got a great Facebook community starting to blow up as well. And of course, obviously the OGs on YouTube. Much love. I was watching this first until you came on. Like I said, great content creator. We'll rate him after my stream is over, of course. The thing that I always do is I always forget to do that. Sucks. I need to be better about this. I do need to be better about this. All right, so that said, please like and share the stream while you're here. Very important that you do so. Helps out a lot. Like the algorithm. So I'm always talking about how the algorithm is kind of slanted against progressives. One way to kind of offset that is people power. People power, like, share, interact, chat, all that stuff. That does help us quite a bit. So much, much appreciated. All right. Let's do it. Let's jump into more violence. Yay. See. All right. Hold on here. With one insurrection attempt foiled, Capitol Police have been warned of violence as Biden's inauguration gets a little bit closer. So now, this happened on a private call Monday night. The new leaders of the Capitol Police, make note of that, new leaders, because old leaders kind of sucked. They told House Democrats they were closely monitoring 3 separate plans that could pose serious threats to members of Congress as Washington prepares for Biden's inauguration on January 20th. So now, HuffPost explains, quote, right-wing militants are planning the largest armed protest to ever take place on American soil in the coming days in Washington. Great. They're also planning to protest the killing of QAnon conspiracy theorist Ashley Babbitt. So now Ashley Babbitt, of course, was shot in the neck during this little coup, this little insurrection. She ended up being shot while trying to get into the speaker's lobby during the riot. So fun times, right? So look, having this as an armed protest, okay, not a good idea. Now, if you want to protest, that's fine. That's the First Amendment. That's your rights. Okay. You want to talk. You want to walk around the Capitol with guns. I mean, technically, yes, it is also your right. But it's probably not a good idea, bro. Especially considering what had happened before. It's basically a powder keg, and having all these people around with guns is a recipe for disaster. So I'm actually really, really worried about this. Okay, especially considering the other plans that are allegedly in the works by members of the far right. Another demonstration, which 3 members said was by far the most concerning plot, would involve insurrectionists forming a perimeter around the Capitol, the White House, and the Supreme Court. So now, with the perimeter around the White House, I guess is allegedly supposed to be to protect Donald Trump, and also to prevent the court from getting into session. But then also, where it gets even more dangerous and insane, it would block Democrats from entering the Capitol building, perhaps even killing them, so that Republicans could take control of the government. Now, obviously, something like that you would think would have help from the inside. And there's certainly rumors about that as well. But look, I mean, it's pretty obvious that that shit right there, that's a coup, straight up coup. And again, this time, unlike last time, there would be more guns involved. Not good. And the last one, it's not as if people during the last riot and coup attempt were unarmed. No. I mean, there were people that were killed with American flagpoles, right, or a spear. And then there was bombs that were found, 2 explosive devices were found and disarmed. And also there's a cooler full of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, like it's fucking Fallujah. Okay, this is not good. That's actually scary as fuck. And so members of Congress, the ones who spoke with HuffPost anyway on Monday night, were obviously extremely concerned by the call. In fact, one member said, quote, "It was pretty overwhelming." Well, yeah. So now let's be clear. Okay, I want to clear something up just for a little bit of clarity purposes. All right. Now, I do want Congress to be afraid of the American people, but not like this. This is not what I'm looking for. Okay. And so that's kind of the difference between us and the right wing, the far right. So the left, we should threaten their jobs, right? Hey, serve us or we will replace you with someone who will. Don't take corporate money or else we will replace you with somebody who doesn't take corporate money and serves our own interests. That's the left position, or it should be the left position, right? We threaten their jobs. The right wing threatens their lives. And I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. One of the tenets of extreme conservatism, of course, is violence. Might equals right. Survival of the fittest, social Darwinism, we've seen it 1,000 times. And in this case, attempted violent overthrow to install a proto-fascist. So, look, I believe in democracy. I think we need more democracy in this country. I don't think we have enough democracy in this country. Well, we need to get rid of gerrymandering, the electoral college, two-party duopoly. We need to move to a multi-party parliamentary system, ranked choice voting. Hell, we could even get rid of the Senate and replace that with, just a House of Commons kind of thing. You also have like automatic voter registration. Basically, more democracy, good. Less democracy, bad. We should have more representation here. That should be the goal. And of course, you add in things like DC statehood, Puerto Rico, all them, those two things becoming states. That would be fantastic. These are the goals, or should be the goals of most people on the left, okay? Notice how none of that really involves needing a violent insurrection, okay? And I hope that as a result, we would get like social democracy, like soc dem type policies, and then we go from there based on what works and what doesn't work and what works best for the American people. That should be the overall goal, all right? Now, that said, I'm a little off track, all right? I'm a little off track, but let me not lose the plot, okay? But back to the call here. Now, on that call, officials warned lawmakers about sharing too much information with the press, saying that divulging specific dates, times, and countermeasures could aid organizers of their plots, which makes sense. Yeah, of course. That's why we don't have like a lot of details on what's going to happen, which we'll get it after. If this does happen, if these gets foiled, we will eventually be able to share that information. But right now, it totally makes sense. Of course. Now, one member was explicit that these groups were trying to get journalists to report on the demonstrations. Quote, some of their main communications to organize these have been cut off. So they're purposely trying to get the media to report on this as a way to further disseminate information and to attract additional support for their attacks, this member said, which is, I guess, why it's a good thing to not actually divulge any of the details in order to, help that happen. All right. And look, you had 70,000 QAnon members get purged from Twitter. You had Parler that got offline. And so that did put a gigantic, crimp in their ability to be able to organize these types of attacks. Again, if you want to organize a protest, 100% fine. It's First Amendment rights, but it crosses a line when you get violent, obviously. And so here's the other thing, right? Now, the leaders of the Capitol Police, as I mentioned earlier, have been replaced, and several officers in the Capitol Police have also been arrested and charged and replaced because they took part in the first coup attempt. And now you have the National Guard that has been, mobilized. And so right now, there's a lot more defense than there was before. There are no surprises here. They're not going to get caught surprised again. In fact, Democrats were told the Capitol Police and the National Guard were preparing for potentially tens of thousands of armed protesters coming to Washington and were establishing rules of engagement for quote-unquote warfare. Warfare. Now they say, well, we don't plan to shoot anybody unless one of the rioters starts it first. But there could be exceptions. So understand how serious this situation really is. This is a powder keg. This is a very dangerous situation. And regardless of how exactly we got to this point, we're here now, and we should expect the worst. I mean, I don't want the worst to happen, but it feels like it very well could. And so now Capitol Police have established a new perimeter with fencing and razor wire, and National Guard has been called in to help protect the Capitol and lawmakers. And that, of course, creates another issue here, the fact that our Capitol is now even more militarized than before. Oh, this is bad. I mean, I hate to see it. I really do. I don't like to see the seat of our government, protected by walls and, giant walls and barbed wire fencing and all this stuff. I mean, this sucks. This is horrible. And yet, I can kind of understand the necessity of it. Unfortunately, because you have a lot of people who have been used and brainwashed into believing that the election was stolen from them and that their sacrifice might be required for Trump. Can you imagine? Can you imagine dying for Donald Trump? Well, People did. People did. 6 people have died as a result of all of this, right? And I hope that none of the worst situation comes to pass, but understand that this is serious. This is a tense situation, and I'm not happy about this. Now the article notes one more thing here, that another area of concern for members of Congress was the Trump administration's involvement in tamping down on an insurrection. Here's one member that told HuffPost, quote, "I don't think anyone has confidence the folks at the Pentagon that may or may not have been needed for some of this, or the Department of Homeland Security, where we don't even know who's in charge, are going to be cooperative." Isn't that amazing? They can't even count on members of the government to be able to, and we've seen that from Capitol Police, on how some of them were just waving them right through. Some of the Capitol Police were actually members of the rioters themselves, flashing badges. Yeah. And other Republican officials who are coordinating or cheering this on the side, that's really dangerous. And they can't even trust other parts of the government. It's almost as if we shouldn't have been handing the Pentagon $780 billion without any strings. Weird. Especially during this administration, which has fomented violence. Now, one Democrat also on the call raised the issue of security for members coming from their residences to the Capitol. I don't understand why they can't just do remote at this point. I mean, we're doing remote everything else. Might as well not even take the security precautions. One member who spoke to HuffPost also said the Capitol Police did not have a satisfactory answer for that concern. Not good. And one of the lawmakers who spoke to HuffPost also said that members of Congress were all experiencing difficult reactions to the storming of the Capitol last week. Here's one quote. "Most of us are feeling that, but we're also feeling that we don't have time to indulge too much of it. That this is not about us, that it's about a job that's way bigger than us, and we're just going to suck it up and get through, and we'll talk about how nutty it is on the other side." So now I hope what doesn't get lost in all of this, which I'm sure will be, is how the Republican Party, not just Donald Trump, but how the Republican Party in general helped make this happen. So I hope now, and I say this with all the positivity in the world, that you get it through your goddamn thick skulls that you can't work with Republicans. Okay? You want, Joe Biden keeps talking about healing, right? Oh, we're gonna come together as a nation, and we're gonna heal. We're gonna heal together. No, we're not. No, you can't. There's no healing with these people. Okay, keep that in mind. The two sides are not equal. They're not the same. And I hope Democrats and corporate media stop playing false equivalence. And that's the big problem. We have Republican congressmen who supported this, encouraged this, right-wing media that pushed this, and even Republican officials and police who are literally part of this on the ground. I didn't need anybody to tell me that from now on that the only difference of the party is, they just have slight disagreements. Not at all true. One is incredibly pro-violence. The other is not. And those are just facts. Okay. All right. Let's go to Suzanne Collins, who's probably the most tone-deaf Republican ever. One of the worst, too. Biden talks about healing because he's a center-right politician. They all think that, I think this is, some of his positions are definitely center-right, but especially when you view it through the global lens, sure. But an American politician, in American politics, which has been so far skewed to the right, he's still somehow considered the centrist. Whereas, of course, globally, people like Bernie Sanders are the centrist. I've been saying this all the time. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. Okay, anyway, I guess we'll just go. There's no healing without accountability. Yes, there needs to be accountability. Absolutely. Why isn't there any more talk about Trump and his cronies in the DOD preventing a timely response by the National Guard? Well, they didn't request it, Michael. As far as I know, Capitol Police did not request the help They just didn't. And of course, you got to see why. The class issue until the upper class exists. We can't, it's not entirely a class issue. I would avoid trying to be too class reductionist on this, although it does have an effect as well. Okay. Anyway, let's move on here to Suzanne Collins and her profile in cowardice. Ah, yes. In the days immediately following the Capitol coup, I was actually surprised about how many people who really didn't see it coming. I mean, look, people like us, you guys, we saw it. We knew Donald Trump was out of control. We knew the Republicans were in a bubble of hate and conspiracies. I've been seeing it since I started following politics, which is why I've been going after Republicans and their enablers in the Democratic Party. And so, yeah. But it makes you wonder, why didn't anybody else see this coming? Why didn't the media see it coming? Why didn't the Democratic Party see it coming? And why didn't Republicans who are supposedly supposed to be anti-Trump see it coming? Well, a recent op-ed done by Suzanne Collins reveals a lot, although in this case unintentionally. So now the lawmaker from Maine who sits in the Senate Intelligence Committee, so just like kind of soak that in. She's on the Intelligence Committee. She's supposed to have, knowledge, right, of what's going on and a grasp of the reality of things that are happening. Well, apparently that did not happen. In fact, here's what she wrote. Quote, "My first thought was that the Iranians had followed through on their threat to strike the Capitol. But a police officer took over the podium and explained that violent demonstrators had breached the entire perimeter of the Capitol, that we were inside. Several of us pointed out that the doors of the press gallery were unlocked right above us. That tells you how overwhelmed and unprepared the Capitol Police were, although many of them were very courageous." Okay, so I have some thoughts on this. For one Capitol Police officer that faced down a mob by himself was a black Capitol Police officer. The only one that was doing his job that we could see, okay? Like the rest of them, the white ones are like, "Oh no, come on in, let me take selfies with Baked Alaska." Whereas this guy is actually doing his fucking job. But because of course, leave it to black people to save the day, as they usually do, and never get any credit for it. All right, so there's that. But the bigger point here is she thought it was the Iranians. The Iranians. That was her first thought. The Iranians. The country that we have squeezed to death with sanctions after first overthrowing their elected government and instituting a puppet regime that was then replaced by a repressive, fundamentalist, religious Islamist government? Yeah, that Iran. Yeah. In fact, we also, by the way, have been helping, and this is crazy when you think about it, but the United States government has also been helping Saudi Arabia and its Wahhabist Islamic fundamentalist government spread that Wahhabism all over the Middle East. And by the way, the same groups, the Wahhabist extremist groups, are like ISIS. Remember them? Yeah. So it's almost like we've been, pivotal in creating our own problems, or you should say our own justifications for continuing to this war on terror in the Middle East, which is nothing more than a money sink at this point for defense contractors. But yeah, I digress. Not to lose the plot too much, all right? But yeah, that Iran, right? So now Iran, of course, they're a fundamentalist country, and now and then, they make a chants called Death to America. Okay, well, look, despite all that, I actually do believe the government of Iran is actually the rational actor, right? And so, I mean, what does that mean? Well, it means that they're not in there for self-destruction. They don't want to destroy their own government. They don't want to destroy themselves. They do want to exist as a country. And so now, as a rational actor, doing an invasion of a capital of the United States of America would not be a smart idea. In fact, it would be an incredibly dumb idea if your country wants to survive. Because guaranteed, if it were the Iranians, the United States would wipe them out the map. Now, it would be, of course, an incredibly costly, super bloody, disastrous war, which is why I don't want war with Iran, which is why I don't want war with really any country, okay? And so the fact, though, that her first thought went to, I can't believe it's the Iranians, is insane to me. Absolutely insane. And look, the other reason that I can say that they are irrational actors, because, well, look who got a deal with them, Barack Obama. Barack Obama got the nuclear deal. It was an incredibly good deal for us. It gave us unprecedented access to their nuclear facilities and their domestic nuclear program in exchange for the removal of some of the most crippling sanctions on their country. I think that was a good idea. And yet, yes, I know that Iran also sponsors terror, but again, how dumb would they have to be to invade the United States of America? That would be stupid. And yet, stupid is thinking that instead of, instead of heeding the warnings of intelligence, right? Heeding the warnings of, all the people that were talking about how, hey, man, look, there's going to be a problem here on January 6th from right-wingers who are angry, who have been lied to, who have been told the election is stolen. There seems to be a problem here with a president that's inciting, all of this, this anger. There's a problem here. And instead of, actually paying attention to that, she thinks Iranians, what are you going to do? It's the Iranians. No. But it goes to the admission here, and this is what's really important, that people, Republicans like Suzanne Collins, could never believe that their base, white Republicans, could ever be dangerous, could ever put them in danger. And see, that's the problem. That's the thing, okay? They immediately think that, no, the Muslims, they're the real threat, despite the fact that, again, white right-wingers have killed more Americans in America than Islamic terrorists. But yet her mind immediately goes to, must be the brown people, must be Iran, must be the evil Muslimics. And that's Republican 101 right there. It can't be us. No, it could never be us. We can't take personal responsibility here. I mean, just despite the fact that, of course, that our party and a lot of, officials in our party, our news agencies, Newsmax, OAN, Fox News, and our president has been calling for this, has been sowing the seeds, saying fake news, fake elections are going to steal it for months and months and months. It must be something else. It must be something else. No, it's you. It's you. This is what you built. You built that. This is what people like Suzanne Collins allowed to happen. This is kind of on her, all right? And on her and the rest of these Republicans, okay? And by the way, I point out her because you guys remember the first impeachment of the president, which there's going to be a second, and that should also blow your mind. But she refused to impeach Trump after the first call with Ukraine. Okay? Here's what she said about this. Quote, I believe that the president has learned from this case. The president has been impeached. That's a pretty big lesson. Did he learn that lesson? Did he learn that lesson? Obviously not. And see, okay. And so what she doesn't get about Trump and the far right is that, they've never been held to account for their actions, for the things that they and their supporters have done. Not once. Not once. Where, of course, Republicans are always like, oh, I can't believe there's a such and such left-wing whatever. Why don't you completely denounce all of that? Why don't you completely denounce BLM? Because there was violence at a BLM protest. Why aren't you denouncing them? Why aren't you denouncing them? All the time. That's all that you hear. But yet, Republicans never denounce anything. There are mass shootings from right-wing fundamental people that are, conservative, anti-government people. They'll do this. And of course, the right wing's like, what, us? No, we didn't do that. Lone wolf. Or they'll do, yeah, but it was actually the left. It was Antifa. It was the Democrats. It's their fault. They're the violent ones. They're the violent ones. No. Complete and utter bullshit. Their rhetoric is never held to account. They are never held to account. There's no accountability here. None. And also, every time that, one of them supports or spews seditious language or hateful imagery, nothing is done. They never have any consequences to the things that they do. Every time they unleash war on unsuspecting Middle Eastern countries based on lies, no evidence, no real consequences. The same for war crimes. When they do it, nobody holds white right-wingers accountable. And look, to be fair, nobody holds Democrats accountable when they do war crimes either. I'm just saying. Fair is fair. But again, this is the problem. There's no accountability anymore, especially for people in power. And who happens to be in power the most? White right-wingers. The problem. And I don't know, maybe this next statement is a little bit of a spark of realization to this absolute bullshit. Here's what she said, quote, I called and texted my closest contact at the White House to urge the president immediately tell the rioters to stop their violence and go home. But President Donald Trump completely undercut that message by repeating his grievances and telling the rioters that he knew how they felt. He knew how they felt. This was terrible, especially since he incited them in the first place. Now, that's what she said, all right? So I say, okay, a little bit of a spark, tiny bit of a spark. But does that mean she's actually going to do anything? It's Suzanne Collins, for God's sakes. Of course she's not going to do anything. She's done absolutely nothing, and she will never do anything. Why? Well, because look at what she's doing now. She is hiding. She is hiding behind process, and she is declining to take a public stance on whether or not Trump should still remain president. I think the guy should be removed immediately. The guy fomented sedition against the country. Insurrection. Yeah, no, he should be gone. He should be gone, impeached, removed today. Now. Get him out. Get him out. But Suzanne Collins, she's got the backbone of a jellyfish. Okay? No courage. Cowardly piece of shit politician. Absolutely. Holy fuck. I mean, such cowardice. But understand that this is peak Republicanism. And also, by the way, this is, she calls herself a moderate, right? No. The great moderate, Suzanne Collins, does everything to help the Republican Party, but somehow she's a moderate because every once in a while she'll say something negative against Donald Trump. And therefore, we are supposed to forgive her for everything and marvel at the sane moderation of people like Suzanne Collins. No, fuck that. That's garbage. Bullshit. No, her complete inability to see that her people are the bad people is astounding. But it makes it so that she doesn't have to do anything about it. She doesn't have to do anything about it. She can just ignore it. No. What are you talking about? No, of course not. But she's got no backbone, nothing, no moderate. Even though she doesn't necessarily agree with these actions, it seems like she's more than willing to just ignore what the Republican Party is and what it has become. This is not a one-off. This is not temporary. This is not like, oh, I can't believe Donald Trump took over my party and made it this way. No, this is what your party is, and it's what it always has been. These are real Republican values taken to their logical conclusion. This is who they are, and when people show you who they are, you better fucking listen. All right. Jesus Christ. I think I'm pretty clear. All right. Hey, look at that TYT rating party of 299 people. Holy shit. I love that. So before I get into the next stories here, I do want to I want to thank some of you people, you wonderful, wonderful good people over on Twitch and on YouTube as well. So let me do that and give some shout outs here. Let's see. Wow. John's Venn diagram desire, awesome. Giving out 2 tier 1 subs. JMJ Clegg with the cheer with the bits. Thank you with the biddies. Much appreciated. All the new follows, welcome to the show. Love it. Love it. Y'all came over here from TYT. That's awesome. Granny Dragon, thank you for the tier 1 gifted sub. Goku just saying for the 1,000 bits. Holy shit. You're awesome. Love you all. Oh my God, we got a hype train going on here. Holy shit. I love it. I love it. Everybody on Twitch, follow our Twitch channel. Also subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook too. So working on all that stuff. All right. Anyways, breathe, you tell me. Yes. Hey, if we can get some likes on YouTube as well, I'd definitely appreciate that too. Look at that. Adrian Lee B with the subscription for 3 months. Hey, thank you. Welcome back. Subscription with Prime. Give me those Bezos bucks. He doesn't need them. And the gifted tier 1 sub as well. Thank you. All right. I've got the greatest community on all the platforms, on all the different streams. Mark the Great 187. Thank you for the 100 bits. Awesome. Awesome. I'm working on being a better Twitch streamer, but also doing the YouTube lives and stuff. Let's see. Hurt Trump where it hurts him, his wallet. Destiny Barton, you are absolutely correct. In fact, one of the next stories, the final story that I have for today, we'll be talking about just that. So I'm looking forward to doing that story here. Unfortunately, I can't see the super chats. So let me restart this. Show me my super chats. Eva Mira says Justice Department live stream was a real bust. Yeah, I mean, and they had a week to figure that one out. Amazing. Amazing. Wait, I have something better.
Amazing.
There we go. Little Jesse Lee Peterson for you. Okay. All right, enough fucking around. Let's do this. And during the Capitol riots, both Republicans and Democrats were rushed to safety by the police, by Capitol Police. But unfortunately, there was one problem which the Capitol Police could not protect them from, and that is Republicans with coronavirus who refuse to wear masks. Because of course, great. So as a result, 3 Democrats have come down, have tested positive for COVID-19 following this lockdown in the Capitol building. So now one of them is Progressive Caucus Chair Representative Pramila Jayapal. So now she had tested positive for the coronavirus on Monday after locking down with some of her Republican colleagues who refused to wear masks during the Capitol riot. So here's what she said about this in a statement. And let me just preface this statement by saying, this is why I fucking love Jayapal. She says, only hours after President Trump incited a deadly assault on our Capitol, our country, and our democracy, many Republicans still refuse to take the bare minimum COVID-19 precaution and simply wear a damn mask in a crowded room during a pandemic, creating a super spreader event on top of a domestic terrorist attack. I mean, right there. Wear your damn mask. Is that too difficult for you? Is that hard? For Republicans, apparently, yes, it is. Way too hard. Jayapal's office said she was locked down for several hours. Republicans who not only cruelly refused to wear masks, as if that's not bad enough, but also mocked colleagues and staff who offered them one. Hey, would you like a mask to protect yourself and your coworkers? You take a mask. Protect yourself. Congress is I swear to God, Congress is like a playground. It's like a kindergarten room right now. With the way the Republicans act, it's basically a daycare for some of these idiots. Holy shit! All right, of course. I mean, honestly, what are you expecting, right? That they're going to care about this? The members of the Own the Libs movement to suddenly give a shit about their colleagues? No, they're in the other party. Screw them. I'm not going to wear a mask. Okay. And it's not just that, but obviously it all trickles down. Everything trickles down, ironically, except for the wealth in the Republican Party, where these leaders show absolutely no backbone, absolutely no spine, and absolutely no awareness or cares about anybody other than themselves. And the ones that actually have decided to embrace wearing masks, well, that's because they already got it. Or they've known somebody who died from it. And sometimes that's not even enough. I mean, Herman Cain's literally dead in the ground, rotting right now. And his Twitter account is still saying how masks are tyranny. So, zombie Twitter account tweeting out conspiracies about wearing masks. That right there is the most egregious example of the Republican Party, and yet that is literally the mainstream of the Republican Party at this point. Of course. And so they didn't wear masks. In fact, Baked Alaska, that right-wing tweet, streamer, he, I think 2 days before, was like, oh man, I tested positive for coronavirus, and then showed up at this thing anyway, didn't wear a mask, didn't do social distancing, because of course, right? Because of course. And then again, I guess I'm kind of ignoring the worst problem here, is that they were not wearing masks and not doing any of this stuff, while they were also trying to violently overthrow the country. That said, Jayapal, along with her pretty harsh words towards her asshole, colleagues, called for some, a little bit of accountability, I should say. She called for members of Congress who refused to wear their masks in the Capitol to face, quote, serious fines and be removed from the House floor by the Sergeant at Arms. Oh God, I'd love to see that. Live stream that shit. I will pop some popcorn and we will sit there and we will watch that, because it will be fantastic. Imagine conservative tears. Guys, you remember yesterday where I showed you the video of that conservative who's crying about like being on the no-fly list. Do I still have that video? I think I still have that video. You guys should watch this if you haven't seen it already. It's hilarious.
They kicked me off the plane. They called me a fucking terrorist, and they want to fucking ruin my life. Sir, please calm down.
That is what would happen with every Republican that gets hauled out for not wearing it. They're trying to ruin my life. Just wear a mask, you idiot. Just wear a mask. It's all that we're asking is that you don't try to fucking kill us. Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway, more from Jayapal. She said, "This is not a joke. Our lives and livelihoods are at risk, and anyone who refuses to wear a mask should be fully held accountable for endangering our lives because of their selfish idiocy." Now, how many of them refuse to wear masks? At least 9 of them, and I'd love to find out who they are. We should go on a public name and shame tour for these assholes, these douchebags. All right. And so I'm going to work on finding these people. All right. So now Jayapal is the second lawmaker to test positive since the Capitol riot. You have Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, who also tested positive on Monday, saying in a statement she believes she was exposed while locking down the Capitol with maskless colleagues. Again, a third lawmaker, Representative Brad Schneider, a Democrat of Illinois, said on Tuesday that he had tested positive as well. And so, yeah, notice how it's the Democrats here. The Democrats, the wear masks and social distancing, they don't get sick in their caucus, but yet Republicans keep getting sick in their caucus. That's real strange how that happens. No, it's not. It's common sense. You wear masks, social distancing, you really cut down on the transmission of the virus if you actually just take common sense precautions. But Republicans, not only do they not use common sense, they're actually proud. They're proud of this. They're proud and understand that this is who they are. They laugh this off. They minimize it. They flout masks and they mock colleagues. Because guess what? Their only ideology at this point, and I've said this many a times, is all about owning the libs. That's what it is. They don't care about each other's health and well-being. They'll die to own the libs. They delight in the malice and the cruelty because at their core, this is who they are. And guess what? When somebody shows you who they are, well, you should probably believe them. I mean, how many Republicans have refused to wear masks? Oh, I just told you 9, but all over the country. Thousands, tens of thousands. And not just refused, but made a point out of making sure as few people as possible take this pandemic seriously. And you have people going and ripping people's masks off, spitting in their faces, spitting in their food. I mean, doing all of this stuff. To what? To what? Own the libs? Is that what this is about? That's what it's about. It has to be. I mean, there's no other reason. They're just being assholes just to be assholes. So understand, right, that they do this on purpose and don't care. And I know it seems like I'm preaching to the choir. I know a lot of you. But here's the thing. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the Democrats. Okay, Democrats, stop. Stop trying to work with these people. Stop it. Stop. Don't do it. Okay, it's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to do anything for any of us. Okay, and this is a problem. Stop bending over backwards to appease people who fucking hate you. I've got no problem with working with people who don't agree with me, but do so in good faith. No problem with that. In fact, I know quite a few people like that. People who I don't agree with on issues, a lot of issues that may identify as conservative, but they do so in good faith. No problem with that whatsoever. I'm not talking about those guys. I think with those people, at least you can find a little bit of common ground on some issues. But understand that right now, most of the Republican Party is not made up of those people. They are made up of bad faith actors. They're made up of people like Mitch McConnell. You think Mitch McConnell's a good faith actor? Hell no. You think Paul Gosar, the guy who had his entire family run ads against him, his family saying, don't elect this guy, he's a jackass. He's not a good person. He is a bad person. How bad do you have to be for your entire family to be like, that guy's a jackass? No, he's the asshole of the family. Trust me. That guy, Mo Brooks, another one, Ted Cruz. These are not good faith actors. These are not good faith people. These are bad people. These are people that only care about their own power. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't have any sort of faith in them, trust them, or, try to bend over backwards to appease them. Because guess what? Ain't gonna work, because they're still gonna fucking hate you. Ted Cruz is an American hero. Okay, guys. Okay. Fun times. Oh, yeah, Ted Cruz is the guy who, who Trump, Trump called your wife ugly, and you're still, simping for him. It's crazy. Oh, I can't say that word on Twitch, can I? Did I just fucking TOS myself? Oh, shit. But same thing. Same thing. He can't wait to bend down and kiss Trump's ass. Amazing how many people are. It's amazing how many people are like that. It's crazy. All right, anyway, let's move on here. Although outgoing President Donald Trump has so far avoided facing any legal consequences due to his incitement of the Capitol riots, he is actually being more affected in a more material way. Now, this is a good story. This is from the New York Times. Okay, they're reporting that in the span of the last 4 days, Trump's family business has lost its online store and its ability to host one of the most prestigious golf tournaments, as well as a lot of potential money and a lot of business relationships, which means no money, no money. All right, so now, as House Democrats, they write, introduced an article of impeachment on Monday, more than a dozen big businesses have vowed to withhold certain political donations to the Republican Party. Coca-Cola started out saying that it would pause donations from the Political Action Committee, saying in a statement, quote, "These events will be long remembered and will factor in our future contribution decisions." Yeah, so a lot of you might not be, might not know, like, a lot of these corporations, well, they're corporations, they don't have any morality, and so they will donate to political parties based on business, the monies. It's all about the monies. And so it's all about, like, hey, Republicans, you want to give me lower taxes and less regulation? Well, that's good for our business. So yeah, we're gonna donate to you. And corporate Democrats, if you do the same, then yes, we're also going to donate to you. We're going to play both sides against the middle, because at the end of the day, we're still going to get preferential treatment, whether it be tax breaks, incentives, giveaways, anything that helps kind of our bottom line. So understand that's how corporations make a lot of their decisions. So also understand that this is not based on any sort of moral calculation. Turns out that fomenting rebellion and incitement is also kind of bad for business. So understand that this is where that decision really comes from. That said, dealing with Donald Trump to these businesses now is considered to be toxic because of how toxic the Trump brand is, because of how toxic Donald Trump is. Marriott is another one. The giant hotel chain said it would pause donations from its Political Action Committee to those who voted against certification of the election, a reference, of course, to congressional Republicans that voted to join Mr. Trump's false claims of election fraud. Morgan Stanley and AT&T also said, too, that they would suspend contributions to those lawmakers. Contributations. I almost made up a word. Trying to. I'm trying to make up words here. No, anyway. So a lot of companies since then have come out. A couple of these will be repeats, but I'm just going to have, in total what I know so far. So AT&T, ConocoPhillips, Dow, Facebook, UPS, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Amazon, Comcast, GE, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Marriott, Microsoft, Google, Verizon, BP, Boston Science, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Airbnb, Amex, Visa, MasterCard, Best Buy, and ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil, the company who lied for years and literally gaslit the country, the American people, about climate change. That company is even like, ooh, Republicans, bridge too far, guys. Not good for business. Too toxic for our brand. Sorry. Dude, ExxonMobil's the reason, like, our country's on fire. And even then they're like, no, that's the bridge too far for ExxonMobil. Like, oof, nope, sorry, guys. We're not really interested in the whole fomenting rebellion thing. Yeah. We'll light the country on fire. We'll light the whole planet on fire. But this is too far. Bad for business. Not good for PR. Rights. Wow. But look, there's more. And this is something that is going to hurt Donald Trump to his very core, his very being. Right? He's not happy about this. The biggest blow came on Sunday when the PGA of America decided that it would strip Trump's New Jersey golf club of a major tournament. Again, this is what Trump cares about. Oh my God, they're not going to golf at my resort anymore, so I lose out on the monies. But more of like the PR branding type of thing. Oh, so that's what you care about. Apparently, Mr. Trump was said to be gutted by the PGA decision, according to a person close to the White House, as he had worked personally for years to push tournament executives to hold events at his courses. Sad. Sad, baby. But it gets better. Some members of the president's own golf clubs are now reassessing, real late, by the way. I mean, calling, Mexicans rapists and murderers that are, being sent here by South American, countries, as well as Mexico. That wasn't a bar, too far, right? But this is too far. He had to literally try to overthrow the country for them to be like, I feel, let me tell you there, Charles, I feel rather uncomfortable here right now. Are we the baddies? I think we're the baddies. I think we should unsubscribe from this country club. Do you unsubscribe from the country club? I have no idea. As you can tell, I'm not exactly a member of the upper crust, so I wouldn't exactly know, even though I do like to go golfing once in a while. I know. Bougie golfing here, even though I would actually prefer to see some golf clubs get turned into homeless shelters or low-income housing. Totally fine with that, 100%. But anyway, there's more. These people are saying that they are deciding whether or not to keep their membership because of protests and vandalism. So it's not just the fact that it's not really because they're uncomfortable with this, actually, but because they're worried about vandalism. Oh no, Charles, those vandals, they might ruin tea time at noon. But we should go and become a member of another club. Yes, I think that's what we should do, yes. But let's go to his hotels. There's even better news about this, okay? So now, David Sangri, a hotel consultant from Ohio, he weighed in. He said that Mr. Trump's role in the attack at the Capitol would further undermine the company's efforts to appeal to affluent customers who are not Trump supporters. So they got to get in the affluent people, as I just mentioned. Mr. Sangri said, this is a big negative. There's no question they're going to lose more events because many groups are saying, we don't want to be associated with this brand. It's all a brand. It's all a brand to them. Right. That became even clearer on Monday night when the New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick said he would refuse the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What does that even mean anymore? What is that medal even for anymore? Okay, you give it to Rush Limbaugh, it's lost all its meaning at this point. So it's just useless, it's worthless, it's a paperweight. Presidential Medal of Freedom. We're just gonna give it to random coaches for football because football, all about freedom. Let me tell you, freedom. And now he's thinking standing for this is standing up for my country by refusing the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That means I deserve a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Oh God, just imagine if Joe Biden does that. Oh, don't do that. Please don't do that. Okay. But anyway, hey, look, all this stuff sounds pretty bad for Trump, right? But it can't be all bad. I mean, Donald Trump's a great businessman, right? He's going to do fine on his own. He's going to do excellent. He's got the greatest business chops ever. He's just going to make his own social media, for example, with hookers and blackjack. And he's going to be very successful in doing that. He's going to rival OAN. He's going to rival Newsmax. He's going to beat the crap out of Twitter with the millions of patriots that will sign on to Trumper. Will it be Trumper? Will it be Trump Book? Book Trump? I don't know. Will it be a microblog? Who knows? Who knows? But this has been buzzing around for the last 4 or 5 years. The rumor that the Trump family is considering starting a media outfit that would, quote, cater to Mr. Trump's tens of millions of supporters in an effort that gained some urgency last week when Twitter and Facebook barred the president from their platforms. Trumpet. Oh, Trumpet. That's real good. Jen Helaradilum. That's really good. That's awesome. Trumpet. There you go. Or you could go the parlor route and be like Trump A. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, there happens to be a little problem with that. It turns out if you want to actually have a successful media venture, and I would know a little bit about this because I myself am in the middle of doing my own media venture, at least on YouTube, and the YouTubes and the Twitches and the Facebooks. I know a tiny bit about that. It turns out it takes a little bit more funding. We're shoestring, we're grassroots. So everything is DIY, do it yourself, because there ain't nobody else that's going to do it. There's a staff of one here. Turns out I don't actually sit in a fancy ass studio. I have a green screen and everything's cheap. Because it turns out if you're trying to do something professional, it's not cheap. It costs the monies. And he's got to get the monies from somewhere. And he's not going to have a lot of investors. In fact, there's going to be very, very few investors in this. In fact, Sheldon Adelson just died. Sheldon Adelson gave Trump a lot of money. Sheldon Adelson's gone. You also have one half of the Koch brothers that's gone that are not exactly the most pro-Trump conservatives at this point. And so where's he going to get the monies? Where's he going to get the monies? Well, nobody knows. In fact, the New York Times talked about this. They said even plans to launch a Trump media platform will face obstacles. If Mr. Trump seeks to forge a new conservative news network or join an existing one like ATN or Newsmax, corporate advertisers are hardly guaranteed to support him. There's that. John Klein, the former president of CNN, said this: "There's only so much that My Pillow guy can subsidize," referring to Mike Lindell. Yeah, I know, right? There's only so much money that the My Pillow guy can give you. That's an epic burn. I love that. And then adds, "It's suddenly a lot more of a daunting proposition than it was a week ago for OAN and Newsmax." Because, look, OAN and Newsmax, well, they're businesses too. They got to have the monies. They got to have the corporate advertisers, even though they say some pretty insane shit. Having Trump join or have a venture or co-venture with them, yeah, it might help with the conservatives giving the donations, but overall the corporate advertising is kind of where it's at. That's where they get the majority of their monies, and they may not want to put that online because, again, it's all about the monies. But okay, not only doing that. Not only that, but doing so, of course, they mention that it would present a daunting logistical and legal challenges, and whatever he seeks to create may require significant resources and possibly loans, which could be in short supply from mainstream sources. And I'm going to get into why, too. But first, I got to ask, if you're going to go for social media, creating a social media, for example, well, why not just go to Gab? Gab exists. Did everybody forget about Gab? I mean, yes, with all the Parlay, the news, Parlay getting shut down and all these people getting booted off Facebook and Twitter and going to Parlay, but they can't go to Parlay anymore. And so what are they going to do? Well, there's Gab. Does everybody forget about Gab? What's wrong with Gab? Oh, right. I know what's wrong with Gab. The Nazis. Lots of Nazis. Tons and tons of Nazis everywhere you see. In fact, that's all that you find on Gab is just literal Nazis. Filled straight up. All Nazis all the time. And of course, the other reason, of course, is his ego. He's not going to want to go on someone else's social media. No, he wants to control it. He wants to get the monies from it. But of course, in order to do that, launch a media venture and launch a social media venture, you're going to have investors, and he just doesn't have them. He's going to have a lot of funding problems. Okay, and this is based on the newest news to come out. Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank, which has been Mr. Trump's primary lender for 2 decades, has decided not to do business with Mr. Trump or his company in the future, according to persons familiar with the bank's thinking. Mr. Trump currently owes Deutsche Bank more than $300 million in loans that are going to come due in the next couple of years. The bank has concluded that, short of forgiving the debt, it has no way to extricate itself from the Trump relationship before the loans come due. Well, guess what's going to happen? Donald Trump is going to, of course, declare bankruptcy. Count on it. Guaranteed. You know it. It's going to be, what, the 6th, 7th bankruptcy at this point? So, yeah. Another longtime financial partner of the Trump, Signature Bank, is also cutting ties. The bank which helped Mr. Trump finance his Florida golf course and where Ivanka Trump, the president's daughter, was once a board member, issued a statement calling Mr. Trump to resign as president in the best interest of our nation and the American people. So now you have a lot of banks, and I mentioned a lot of the other ones earlier, that have decided to not do business with the Trumps anymore. And so in America, that leaves out a lot of potential capital. And look, Deutsche Bank, I know Deutsche Bank is a German bank. They're not an American bank, but still, they're one of the few banks that were willing to loan to the Trump family. Now they don't have that anymore. I guess that leaves only one source of potential money, of income, for his business dealings, and that, of course, is overseas money. I'm talking Russian money. I'm talking Saudi money. I'm talking, other country, Argentinian money, Brazilian money, Indian money, all these from a lot of right-wing governments. That kind of money. Yeah. In fact, the Times notes that the company could look for new deals in places where company executives believe Mr. Trump remains popular, such as Brazil under a fascist, Argentina, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and India. Yes, that's the Saudi money from Mohammed bin Salman. Great. Trump could also hit the speaking circuit, collecting large payments for each appearance, a company executive said. Oh, good. Who would pay money to hear Donald Trump ramble? Well, I mean, people go to the rallies for free, but I wonder how many people would actually pay to hear him talk. I'm just saying, I don't know. But I did notice, and I'm sure you did too, that he's very popular in places that have extreme right-wing governments, fascist dictatorships, etc. And so, it makes sense. But getting funding from those countries would be kind of ironic for a quote-unquote America First president, although it would be 100% on brand for a president who always puts his monies, his wealth, over anything else. So if he takes money from these other countries, it would just once again would prove that he is the fraud that we have always said that he is. So, all right. Holy, that was a lot of stuff. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Twitch, stay around. We're going to raid into the serfs. So that's what we're going to do here in a few minutes. But before I do that, I want to thank everybody who has given, who has donated on Twitch. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of people that have given a lot of great things. Look at that. Hype train complete at level 2. Level 2 hype train. Thank you all. Much appreciated. I think it was my first hype train. That's awesome. Crazy Hawaiian PA, subscribed for 2 months, tier 1. Thank you. Occam's Taser, subscribe for tier 1 subscription. Thank you. Tumbles25, thank you for the tier 1 subscription. Much appreciated. For that, I should say. There's some biddies here. Somebody donated some biddies here. Pagan Communist, thank you for the 20 bits. Tempa Dan, thank you for the 10. Zombie Skincare, thank you for the 100 biddies. Very kind of you. Granny Dragon, thank you for the 200 bits. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for all of the kindness that you have shown me today. Much, much appreciated. This actually turned out to be a much better show than I thought. So thank you all for helping make this happen. 820 viewers on Facebook. I'm sorry, on YouTube as well. Thank you for that. And thank you to all the viewers on Facebook as well. 55. So thank you so much. You're all too kind. All right, so we're gonna raid into the Serfs Twitch community. As for everyone else, we're gonna do a show tomorrow, as always, at this time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. That is, like I said, 4 p.m. Eastern every day, Monday through Friday. Fun times. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. Love you guys. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you all tomorrow.
It's like a shark, NATO, except with food. I have not loved this conversation.
Wet ass P-word.
See us some nights.
Tighten up my meat.
I like my meat tight. Silent. Tolerate.
Please clap. They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking